What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we are going to jump back over to Marvel Comics and jump back into the Dark Reign period, and we're going to pick up with Dark Reign Hawkeye. Now remember, this was not the Hawkeye you all loved, Clint Barton. This is actually Bullseye, a villain of Daredevil, who was recruited by Norman Osborn when Norman Osborn formed the Dark Avengers. He asked certain villains to pretend to be other heroes in the Marvel Comics universe. And so he picked Bullseye to pretend to be Hawkeye. And this is Bullseye's solo adventure as he's Hawkeye on the Dark Avengers team. So I do hope you like today's comic book video, and if you do, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. But I do hope you enjoy today's video. The opening of this book opens up with the Dark Avengers going after a stolen Hulkbuster armor. Now this is going to be a story, of course, focusing on Hawkeye, as this team is trying to stop whoever has stolen the Hulkbuster armor. Also that this Hulkbuster armor is heading towards something that will be very important. Now while you have all of the other members of the Dark Avengers trying to blow up the thing, you have Hawkeye remember that these Hulkbuster armors have a failsafe. Once you pull it, the pilot room opens up and shuts down the whole system, which he does. And we see that it is some random guy who is now freaking out. Remember, this is not the Hawkeye you guys all know and love, which would be Clint Barton. This is Bullseye, usually a villain of Daredevil. Remember that when Norman Osborn formed his Dark Avengers team, he asked supervillains to join and pretend to be different heroes. So with him pretending to be Hawkeye, this random man thinks he is just going to go to jail. Except Hawkeye, or Bullseye, doesn't care if he is playing as a hero. He still wants to kill, and he actually ends up killing this person, except with no one piloting the Hulkbuster armor anymore. It falls on top of a bunch of people. Now you have Norman Osborn trying to convince the people that what happened here is because of Iron Man. It was a terrorist attack. Remember that at this time, Iron Man was the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. until Secret Invasion and Norman Osborn took over. So it is Norman Osborn saying that this recent attack is because of Iron Man. He has gone crazy. Except you have Ben Urich wanting to know the truth of Norman Osborn's intentions, but also wanting answers for Hawkeye actions leading into the death of a dozen innocent people. When the Dark Avengers get back to their base, you have Norman Osborn have a meeting with Bullseye to talk about how his actions are making the team look bad. With him going around wanting to kill people, it is making it hard for the public to believe in Norman Osborn. Now for Bullseye, he can't believe that Norman Osborn is trying to act like he is actually a good guy now. Bullseye knows that Norman Osborn has some kind of angle, just can't figure it out. Either way, it is Norman Osborn telling Bullseye to be more careful. With Hawkeye getting chewed out by Norman Osborn, you have him go out to get some fresh air. By fresh air, I mean go out and find someone to kill, because to him, he has to kill more than just one day. So we see him killing a bunch of thugs who are trying to kidnap a random lady. And you have Bullseye, who is pretending to be Hawkeye, use the arrows and bows to kill most of these thugs off. Except here comes the messed up part. You have Hawkeye actually kill off the lady as well too, just to show how crazy this man truly is, because he loves to kill. The problem with him going around killing these people, even torturing the last surviving member of the game, where you have Bullseye thinking that he is going to get away with everything, he comes to find out that there was a news chopper nearby and they have caught everything on camera, meaning that this news crew can send the video they have over to their news channel team and show the world the true actions of Bullseye to the whole world. Now, of course, you have Bullseye not wasting any time when it comes to taking care of the witnesses who saw him just kill a bunch of people. Remember that he is supposed to be an Avenger now, so everyone is looking at him as Hawkeye, but a good guy. So with him killing off a bunch of people, we see him just kill every single one of them off pretty quickly. And it is not surprising at all. Really, he's enjoying this more than rather worrying about the fact that these people could have almost blown his coverage on who he is and why he is going around killing people. Except you have the news channel people being able to send out the video to their news channel team and being able to show that Hawkeye of the Dark Avengers is going around killing people. Now, of course, you have Bullseye call up Norman Osborn to inform him what had just happened, which of course you have Norman Osborn sent in a group of soldiers to shut down the place and basically get rid of the footage before it is able to get out to the whole world. What's crazy is that in the next page, you have Norman Osborn acting like what Hawkeye did was stop a terrorist attack, which we all know is not true at all. But you have Norman Osborn tell the news channels out there that it was Bullseye, because remember that the whole world don't know that Bullseye is the new Hawkeye on the team. They still think that it is Clint Barton. So it is Norman Osborn saying that it is Bullseye and Hawkeye was the one who stopped it. Now we pick up with Ben Urich, who is known as one of the top reporters of the Daily Bugle. I think at this point he is back at the Daily Bugle, but we pick up with him visiting the forensic people of the police department as he is trying to tell a story. There are some people out there saying that Hawkeye actually killed people, but some other people saying that Hawkeye stopped Bullseye, which we know is not true. But either way, you have the forensic guy tell Ben Urich that he was unable to look at the body since Norman Osborn Hammer soldiers came in and took the body away before he was able to look at it. So it becomes a dead end for Ben Urich until he gets a call from someone telling him that Ben Urich is going to help stop a monster or tell the whole world about one. And you'll see what I mean here in a few minutes. Shifting our focus back on Norman Osborn and Bullseye, you have Norman Osborn thinking about the fact how great of a killer Bullseye is, how that basically he is going to give Hawkeye a mission to kill a bunch of people, that an organization called PTSF, known as Peace Through Superior Power Firepower, this was an organization that was thought to be dead and gone from years ago, but they have shown up and could be behind the Hulkbuster attack. So this is Norman Osborn saying that he is sending in Bullseye to take care of this problem, meaning that kill everybody at their safe house. This is where we finally get into the main point of this book, or the main bad guy of this book, which is funny to say since Bullseye is really a bad guy. But either way, when Bullseye gets to the location to kill off the organization, well, he comes to find that everyone is dead. Someone had already killed them, and that is very confusing because he knows he did not kill them, except that when he begins to look into who could have been behind the killing, that is when he is greeted by someone dressed as Bullseye, but in his original Bullseye outfit. Because remember that our Bullseye left behind his past life to pretend to be Hawkeye for the Dark Avengers. So you have our Bullseye chase after this copycat, except when he tries to jump and grab him, well, it seems that Bullseye wasn't even there. Like it was in our Bullseye's head and he falls out of the window. Now, luckily, Hawkeye is able to save himself from falling to his death by using his skills as a fighter and a killer to land safely. Now, this could have gone worse, but he does save himself. Then this leads to trying to figure out what had happened. Was real, like someone is pretending to be him, or this is all in his head. The next section of this book, you have the book show a Bullseye waking up in his own bed, except he is still wondering what he went through was real or fake. But that is when he sees the fake Bullseye again in his Dark Avenger room. Sadly, when he turns around to stop this fake Bullseye, the fake one is gone again. When he asked his security system if there was anyone else in the room, the computer system says no. No one else was in the room, and could mean that he is going crazy. Now, the next day, you have Norman Osborn call Hawkeye to a certain crime scene, and the reason why they found a man who seemed to be killed named Irving Gray, who was a senator, which right now there is a bullseye mark on the top of his head, which to Norman Osborn, he thinks that Bullseye was the one who killed this man. So you have everyone kind of pointing the finger, but you have Bullseye say it wasn't him and points out that maybe there is a copycat. You have Bullseye meet up with Carla, who was this time pretending to be Captain Marvel of the team. She is a villain, but before she became a villain, she was also a shrink as well. So you have Hawkeye go see her to get some answers to see if maybe he is crazy or maybe even Norman Osborn is crazy. Remember that Norman Osborn is right now taking pills to keep the Green Goblin persona at bay. So this is what has Hawkeye worried. He thinks that maybe his mind is splitting in two. Maybe there is a second persona trying to come out and play mind games on him, but he doesn't know for sure. This leads into Ben Urich going to meet up with the guy who contacted him earlier about stopping a monster that some organization created. He goes to the park and gets a call from a guy who tells him to look under the park bench to find a file and look into it, which leads into Ben Urich going back to the Daily Bugle to talk to Robinson about Irving Gray, the senator whose dead body was found earlier. Well, before he was a senator, he was running an NSA Black Ops, and their number one operative was Bullseye. So, to Ben Urich, it seems that Bullseye had just killed his old boss, even though we know it is not true. This also ties into the PTSF organization, because apparently to the whole world, they were just a terrorist group. But in reality, it was an NSA Black Ops group. Robinson and Ben Urich wants to know more about all of this. Switching back to Bullseye, we see him basically taking some pills that could have or not really been prescribed by Carla, hoping to help him since he thinks he is going crazy. But that is when he sees a package on the table that has a note on there that says to remember who he is. But inside the box, it was actually his old Bullseye outfit, and he's wondering who is playing this game on him. So he runs after Victoria Hand, who was Norman Osborn's assistant, to explain that she brought it up to his room since it was at the front desk. Except for Bullseye, he knows that if the package was just delivered, that means the person who brought the package here means the person is still nearby. So you have Bullseye go and take a Quinjet to look around the building to find the person. This time he does find the person who is dressed in a Bullseye outfit as well. So our fake Bullseye shoots a rocket at our real Bullseye to take him out of the sky. Except the real Bullseye sends the missile back at him. After they dodge the missile, you have the two of them fight with their fists and they try to kill each other, where it leads to Bullseye actually throwing glass into the eye of the fake Bullseye. After the fight goes on for a while, you have Bullseye wanting to get some answers on what is going on here. Except before he is able to do that, you have a bunch of fake Bullseye appear out of nowhere to basically kill him off. So of course, we're going to have the part where you have Hawkeye beginning to fight against all of these fake Bullseye clones. Now, these fake Bullseye clones are not really clones of Bullseye. These are a bunch of people who are dressing up as Bullseye to mess with him. Something else to point out is that Bullseye is way out of their league. Bullseye is one of the best assassins in the world, that these guys don't really have a chance against him. They tried the best they can do against him, but all of them are killed off by him. Except the first one we saw that was dressed up as Bullseye. When he thinks he's about to get some answers from these guys, you have Bullseye get knocked out by someone from behind his back. Switching back to Ben Urich, you have him going to the bathroom, thinking that it is going to be a usual bathroom break, except he is confronted by the mysterious man again, who is making Ben Urich look into the NSA, the PTSF, and Senator Gray. That he tells him that Ben is not digging in the right direction or not digging fast enough to figure out the big secret, which is that Senator Clay did not run the NSA and the PTSF, that really he was just a front man. The real person who was running everything is a guy named Kingmaker. And now the question is, who in the world is Kingmaker? Now getting back to Bullseye, where we see him right now being held in some kind of device. This device is keeping him locked down by some machine that is supposed to be messing with his mind. Now this fake Bullseye name finally gets revealed to us, and his name is Solo. We will learn more about him down the road, but the biggest thing about this part is more of the big reveal who is behind everything, which of course it is Bullseye's father, who is in a wheelchair, and apparently it is Bullseye who put his father in a wheelchair in the first place. This is where you have Bullseye's father. His name is Kingmaker. They never truly revealed his name in Marvel Comics, just his name is Kingmaker. So with him telling you his name is Kingmaker, which tells you that he is the one behind everything. But it is him telling us the reason why he is doing all of this to Bullseye, that since the last time they met, Bullseye left his father to burn to death. But Kingmaker was saved at the last minute by Solo. Now Solo has been around since 1986, but more in Spider-Man comics. He's a guy who has the ability to teleport, and when Kingmaker was almost burned to death, well, he was saved by Solo, who teleported in and out before he had died. Which then you have Kingmaker tell Bullseye what he's going to do to him. That basically he is going to transfer his mind into his son's body because he is tired of being in a wheelchair. Now, while he's explaining this big plan of his to his son, he is also talking bad about Solo. Even though Solo had saved Kingmaker, Kingmaker still says that he is just using Solo, and Solo is basically just somebody for him to use for his own purpose, which Solo does over here and makes Solo angry. We then see Ben Urich go see this unnamed character who is an informant who is able to give Ben Urich more information about PTSF and Kingmaker. When Ben Urich says the name Kingmaker, well, it makes this random character freak out. He even says that he has to make sure that they are hidden somewhere to make sure that no one can truly hear about this conversation, because it might end up getting the both of them killed off. So they go inside. Getting back to Bullseye, we see that right before Kingmaker and his team of doctors are able to complete their goal to transfer his mind into Bullseye's body, you have Bullseye give us the plot twist. That basically, thanks to Bullseye having, and I'm going to butcher this word, and I always have, so guys, please forgive me, adamantium metal laced all over his skull, that the brain device they were using actually didn't work. He was just chilling there to gather information before he kills them all off. So of course, with that being said, you have Bullseye get up and begin to kill everyone in the room except his father, of course. He wants to save that person for last, but even though Solo was being talked bad by the Kingmaker, you have Solo still teleport in and grab Kingmaker and leave. This is not Solo being nice. It is more of Solo telling Kingmaker that he is going to give him answers why Kingmaker used him. With them leaving, of course, we know that Bullseye is going to hunt both of them down to kill them since they went out of their way to kidnap him. Now, getting back to Ben Urich, it is him mostly talking to his unnamed informant, giving out all of the information we already know. The only thing that gets added into our list of information is that Kingmaker really are not in charge of the NSA or anything else that is tied into him. He was just one of the higher ups, but now there's a kill order on him because Kingmaker went rogue and tried to do his own thing, which makes Ben Urich leave. But when he does leave, he gets another call from the earlier mysterious character who tells him there is still one more thing Ben Urich doesn't know, which then leads us back into Bullseye and we see him catching up with Solo and Kingmaker. This leads into a big battle between Solo and Bullseye, as Kingmaker is able to sneak away into one of his own jets to get away. This fight does last for a few pages, and honestly we know what the outcome was going to be, which would we see Bullseye coming on top and being able to stop Solo. Now Solo is able to escape before Hawkeye has the chance to kill him, which then makes Bullseye begin to think about going after his father now, which of course leads us into this big jet battle in the middle of the sky between father and son. Now this fight does last for a few pages where we both know how all of this is going to end since this book is over 10 years old. Bullseye's father has not been around in Marvel Comics since this book. We know that the outcome leads to Bullseye being able to take down his father and make him crash his jet into the ground. Now, before we can see the death of Kingmaker, we have to jump back over to Ben Urich, because remember that right now he's going around trying to put all of these pieces together so he can write an article about the NSA Black Ops and PSTF for the whole world to know about them. Instead, when he goes to meet up with his mysterious informant for more information, that person is shot and killed, letting us know that someone is trying to keep everything from getting out into the whole world. The book ends with us seeing Hawkeye watching his father burn to death and making sure his father does die this time. Then he calls up Norman Osborn to come pick him up from wherever he was at. And this is where we are going to end today's video. So please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read? Well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoyed today's video.